Hi guys. Oh, did you just put your nose in my bum? Hi guys, it's me. And I am here today for the mid-year freak out tag. Thank you to my friend Brittany Rose Reeds for tagging me in this video, as well as my dear friend Margins of Marissa. Now, I'm not really sure like exactly how many questions or what exactly the questions are supposed to be for this tag. I just kind of looked it up and done 11 of them. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Olivia, but I usually go by Liv or Livy, whatever you prefer. I make bookish videos, lifestyle videos, vlogs, book hauls, all that good stuff. I would love to have you here in our little community. I always love feedback and learning about more stuff that you guys want to see from me. So if you have any video ideas, any vlog ideas, anything specific that you want to see from me, I'm all ears and I would love to hear what you want to see. So without further ado, let's get into the book tag the mid-year book freakout tag. Something along those lines. Now, some of these questions are kind of tea, and what I mean by that is like they might ruffle some people's feathers, but I just want you all to know that if we disagree on a book, it's not personal. It's just my personal preference. Everyone has different preferences. And also, none of this is that deep. The first question that I have on my little laptop, best book you've read so far in 2024. I could not pick one. I've had a very lucky year in terms of books. It is a mix of three. The first one is Bunny by Mona Awad. I made a whole video about this because I was in like a mini reading slump. I read Bunny. It got me out of my reading slump. And I feel like everybody who talks about it says the exact same thing, if they like it. Because there was also a large group of people who really didn't like it, but I personally loved Bunny. I thought it was amazing. I thought it really felt like you were on an acid trip. Someone who's never done acid and is terrified of drugs had a great time. I was tripping balls, okay? If you're into that, give Bunny a read. The next one is Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke. This book is a collection of letters, real letters exchanged between a young person who's an aspiring poet and artist, writing to Rainer Maria Rilke, who is a very established poet and artist, creative advice to this young man on a life of pursuing the arts and the mindset that you have to have. And it is so inspiring. I urge anyone, it doesn't matter what field of work you're in, obviously, especially if you are in a creative field of work, it just hit for me so hard. Like you could gain such great wisdom from it. 5 stars, Letters to a Young Poet, absolutely amazing. And the third one, I said Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. I gagged for Once Upon a Broken Heart. I absolutely loved it. But at first I was like, this feels quite young and like, I don't know if it's for me. Excuse me. The more that I read it, the more I felt so transported. It is such an atmospheric read. It literally was such a beautiful experience. I was so invested. And just the imagery. Oh, okay, number 2, best sequel you've read so far in 2024. I have 2. The first is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This is the sequel to Divine Rivals, which if you've been following me for a while, you know that I loved Divine Rivals. It was amazing. Ruthless Vows was definitely a lot more like business, and by that I mean a lot more politics. It gets into the war. The relationship undergoes a lot of turbulence. There's a lot more action. It felt a lot more epic fantasy than Divine Rivals. I loved it. I thought it was a great transition and I think it ended really well. And the second one is Kingdom of Ash. I cannot put into words the love that I have for this series. It's no surprise, everyone has so much love for the series, but genuinely, Kingdom of Ash will go down in history as one of my favorite books of all time, period. I have never cried as hard as I have cried reading that book. And if you've read it, I'm sure you feel the exact same way. Okay, number 3, most anticipated releases for the next half of 2024. So I just put this as like most anticipated reads for the next half of 2024. So I have Lore of the Wilds by Annalise Sabrana, which has been on my TBR for a long time, but since I've been in my slump, I like just haven't picked it up because I want to finish what I'm reading now. But I'm really excited to read that. I think it looks so cool. So I'm definitely excited to read that. Then the next book is called Fathom Folk by Eliza Chan. It sounds so cool. The first book in a series, I think. It's about a siren, a half siren named Mira. And Eliza Chan writes about East Asian mythology. And I don't know barely anything about East Asian mythology, but from what I have learned about it, it is beautiful and fascinating, and I just really want to deep dive into that and learn more about that. This book, first of all, looks absolutely gorgeous. Second of all, half siren and Cordelia, a sea witch. You don't even need to tell me the plot, I'm there. So I'm really excited to read that. And then next we have Don't Want You Like a Best Friend by Emma R. Albin. This is already out. One of my friends, Erin, they were reading it on a live stream that we were doing a few months back now, and they absolutely loved it. And so I put it on my list and I'm dying to read it. It's a sapphic romance set in kind of the Regency era, I think. It's quite Bridgerton, and it's between two women who fall in love. I think it's like a noblewoman and her handmaid or something like that. It sounds so cute, and I haven't read any sapphic romances this year, so I really want to do that. Okay, now we have biggest disappointment. Now, that like sounds so intense to me. I want to urge, this is just my opinion. I didn't hate this book by any means. I really didn't hate it. I hyped it up so much in my brain that when I read it, I was like, it just didn't give what was meant to be gave. And that is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Johnson. I love Norse mythology. I watched the whole Viking series, and that's what got me into it. I'm obsessed with it, and I was so excited to have a fantasy series surrounding Norse mythology. And I read the book, and like I said, I didn't hate it. It wasn't like terrible and like I'm telling you don't read it. I thought it was good. I was just disappointed because I was expecting a lot more from it. That's fine. We all have those books. I would probably read the second one. I'll continue to read the series just to see maybe if it picks up, because I know that happens sometimes the more the series goes on. So I'm gonna give it another chance. Next question, biggest surprise. Serpent and the Wings of Night duology. I didn't know too much about this at all. I was just dying for a vampire story, and some of my friends on Bookstagram told me you should read Serpent and the Wings of Night. So I just downloaded them on my Kindle, and I literally read them in like 4 days, and I loved them. They weren't like my favorite romantasy ever in the whole world, but I had so much fun. I enjoyed myself so much. And Rain, there is like new fan art coming out about Rain, because while I was reading it, I didn't really find any fan art that really spoke to me, and I was like, that is Rain. But since I've read it, there's been some super talented artists that have made ooh, I'm getting hot thinking about it. Fan art of Rain, and oh my god, absolutely insane. So good. Next one is new favorite author. I had to put Mona Awad. She just blew me out of the water. And she writes in a way that it's not particularly easy to read. I'm like quite a mood reader, so like sometimes I'm like, you know what? I just want to no think, have fun, read book. Mona Awad is not that girl. You need to be locked in. You need to go to the locked in factory, sit down, and start your clock, because you need to pick up every little detail that she puts in. Sorry guys, I don't know why I burp in literally every single video I make. Whatever. And then next, Stephanie Garber. Stephanie Garber. And R.F. Kuang. I love her. I read Yellowface. Holy Jesus, that writing was so amazing. It was like, you're always on edge. Her writing has me on the edge of my seat every time. Love you, R.F. Kuang. Queen. Newest fictional crush. Well, I mean, of course, Jax. Of course, Jax. Yes, I love tall, dark, and handsome men, but sometimes the right kind of blonde man. Give me a man like Jax. I need Jax in such a biblical way, and it's really a shame that he doesn't exist. Next new crush, Rain, who I just talked about, of course. He is so sexy! And he's a ginger. Ginger representation, it's about time, okay? It's about time we have some gingers up in here. Newest favorite character. This one was tough as well, but I honestly think I put it down to Iris Winnow from Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. I just loved how she's so honest and sweet. A lot of times in fantasy books, you have those girls that are like almost too girl bossy to the point where it's like, okay girl, we get it. Like, you're independent and you don't need no man. Like, we get it. She was the perfect level for me of like, you just know that she's independent. She doesn't have to say it. She just acts accordingly, and she's secure in herself, and she's smart. She's witty. She's very intuitive. None of that was like spoon-fed to you by the author. It was just evident in her actions. So, books that made you cry. Well, besides Kingdom of Ash, Just Kids by Patti Smith. Y'all. It's a true story too, which made it worse. What an amazing and tragic story that is. If you don't know who Patti Smith is, she was a musician. She still is, but she was up and coming in like the 60s and 70s and 80s. It's an autobiography as well as a biography about her first love, their relationship during the 60s and 70s in New York City. Oh my God. It is so good, so sad. Books that made you happy. Well, I have to put Once Upon a Broken Heart, that whole series. You're just giggling and kicking your feet the whole time reading those, obviously. And Letters to a Young Poet, as previously stated. I feel like I could put another one. I feel like I keep talking about the same books. Bride by Ali Hazelwood. That was really fun. Nothing like crazy to write home about, but it was great and I had so much fun. I was giggling and kicking my feet the whole time. And then last question, favorite book to movie adaptation you've seen so far this year? Dune 2. Oh my God. The second Dune movie was insane, dude. If you haven't watched it, you need to stop what you're doing right now. It is one of my like top 3, I'm not kidding you, right now in my life, top 3 favorite movies of all time. It is insane. Like, the first Dune movie was great, but the second Dune movie, action, action, action. If you love Star Wars and a villain origin story, you would love it. I'm a sucker for a villain origin story. And that's why my other favorite adaptation is Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. You all know how I feel about Tom Blythe. I don't need to talk about it. Tom, I know you're watching, and I still want you. Okay guys, that was my mid-year freakout tag. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. Sorry that I literally talked about like the same 5 books the whole time, but those were just most relevant ones in my opinion. I've read 35, my goal is 80. We'll see if I get there. If I don't, whatever. I love you guys so much. Make sure to like and subscribe if you would like to, if you enjoyed this video. I would love to have you as part of this community. I hope you guys have a fabulous day or evening. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. My personal Instagram is olivialloydbaker, but my bookstagram is livyslib. Love you guys so much. I'll talk to you soon. Love you.